It's Fey on the mic with
Dolapo here. What's up? What's going on, people?
Okay, so what do we start with today, Dolapo?
Oh, we're gonna talk about what everyone is doing online. The fuck you challenge. Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it.
Yes. Have you heard any of them?
Fucking with it. Yeah, I've heard a good amount of them. I think the most salacious one is Tiwa's. Maybe not salacious. The most intriguing one, maybe, because we all
Because everyone
assume
thinks
who
they
it's
know what
about.
it's about.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's not the best one though.
Okay.
From what I've heard, maybe I'm biased because I really like Simi, but I think I like Simi's the best.
Okay.
Can you see me now?
Young, good producer.
You wanna play games, but you know Sabi. You think say I be Dondi, I be Oro, be more Kolani. You fuck.
Simmons is pretty good. Simmons was good. Dream was good. There's a bunch of good ones. Black Bones was good.
Ice Prince.
Ice Prince was pretty good.
Yeah.
There were a couple of like unknown people that had like really good ones. But yeah, what do you think about the challenge anyway? So you said you like it.
I think it's cool. I think a challenge means good things for whoever it spawns from. So like this is good for Kizz Daniels because we all know in your feelings or in my feelings that challenge and how big that was for that song.
Yeah.
Even Sierra when she had that one song that I think is kind of trash. She had a challenge with it and it might have helped it a little bit.
What's the challenge? What song?
Levitate. What the fuck is that song, dude?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what it's song.
Yeah, that's the song. Either way, that song is trash to me, but the challenge helped it.
Yeah, of course.
We know. There's just so many examples of it. So either way, I think it's a really good look for Kizz Daniels.
It is definitely.
And I'm feeling it too. Like it just gives us something cool or interesting to look into to follow on.
So you're gonna do one?
Perhaps not.
What do you think? What do you think?
That wants to do one.
What do you think about like? So of course it's fun, it's cute. I like it. I like that all the celebrities and all the regular people are doing it.
Okay.
It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you remember, Olamide had one for Who You Help. It was like a big thing. Everyone did it. But I was kind of thinking like, what does this like challenge say about everyone? Not in that the challenge itself, but like the challenge is very specific. It's a fuck you challenge. It's not just a like. I don't think this challenge would be as big if it was like I like you challenge. Right? The fuck you challenge. People have stuff to say.
Wasn't there like an I like you challenge that Chance the Rapper?
You're not supposed to say that.
Okay, either.
No, it didn't go up because I never heard about it. So it wasn't.
It wasn't I like you literally.
I know.
It was like
same kind of.
No, but I agree with you. Like last week we were talking about that guy MC Galaxy or whatever. How shock factor is what catches people's attention.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see a nice. Or excuse me, nobody really wants to see a nice song about your relationship. Nobody really wants to be in your relationship with you, whatever. They want the goods, the juice, the sauce, the tea, all of that. So I think you're right. It's only big because it's the fuck you challenge. Like we all remember I Don't Fuck With You, the Big Sean song, and how much we really championed that song because it was just like song. I'm feeling
and
aggressive.
It was after what's that girl, Maya Rivera?
Yeah, Naya,
whatever her name was, after her.
Yeah, it was after that whole situation.
We don't fuck with her anymore. Big Sean told us.
That worked, right? Exactly. So no, I think that challenge. I mean, it wasn't a challenge, but just singing along to that song, like brought out of all of our aggressions collectively.
Therapy.
Exactly, it was therapeutic. So this challenge is like, not only am I getting some good songs out of it, it's like I'm also getting some tea. Like I said with Tiwa, it's like, let's hear what she got to say about her ex.
Yeah.
So I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's. Like I said, I like it. But another thing I was thinking, another thought that crossed my mind, I'm probably overreacting, probably being a little crazy. But we have to overreact and connect things because how else would this be fun?
True.
Do you think that Kizz Daniel has a problem with women? Because his other big song, Madu, whatever that is about. I told you, I don't think we actually recorded it, but we talked about that, like how it was like, the whole thing where like they're saying he doesn't know about consent and stuff like that.
Right.
His other song, One Ticket with Davido, is basically like, yo, I'm tired of these women. Like, all you ever do is want stuff from me. Like, I'm tired of dealing with these women.
Yeah.
Now his challenge is fuck you challenge. Like, he's going through a lot with women. Or is he just doing it, or is he just being artistic?
I think the latter.
Okay.
Like,
how do we determine?
In the sense that I'm sure he's had good experiences with
women. Of course,
yeah. But his art or whatever, his creativity is drawn to the more scandalous things.
Yeah.
You know, the more painful aspects. Because for me, you know, like a happy song doesn't always make me happy. Doesn't always bring me to that space.
Right.
You know? But a sad song has that, like it gives you a more visceral effect, you know what I'm saying? So I'm sure it's the same for somebody who's creating. Like when they're tapping into the emotions, you know, going through their past
you go to the
experiences.
extremes.
They go to the extremes, and the easier one to tap into a lot of times is sadness.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I feel you. So do you think you don't look at it as like women bashing in any kind of way? You don't, because I know like there are a lot of women artists I think of like as men bashers. I don't hate them for it, but Fantasia, I would think Fantasia is like a man basher in a way. No, you don't think so?
I put Fantasia in like a Mary J. Blige.
Mary J. Blige could be a man basher. Mary J. Blige would make it like who are the artists? I think a man bashing artist, I would think in general, of course we're overgeneralizing, right? Is an artist that after you break up and your feelings, like you're gonna listen to them because they're gonna make like when you're angry.
You're right. Because they're gonna tap into. But I don't know why, but for me, I don't think of it as man bashing. I think of it as like just releasing
naturally. Of course. Outlets.
But like
nice
I didn't think of I don't fuck with you as women bashing. I thought about it as you went through some shitty situation with a woman and you went, you know, you put it on wax. So I think that's the same with women. Whenever I hear a Mary J. Blige or a Fantasia, I'm not thinking of men as a whole. I'm like, that man did her wrong and I'm feeling her. You know what I'm saying?
But you know, it's like I understand what you're saying, and I'm sure they mean it that way. But a lot of times it's man, like you don't really want to be like you don't want to be the guy in the room when a bunch of women are singing. I can't even think of a good song right now.
Or The Worst by Jhené Aiko.
Yeah,
you know that song?
Yeah, I know that song.
That's an anthem for us. That's an anthem for us.
Yo, I had a random connection with that song. I can't remember right now, so I have to go back to my notes. I have a theory. I have a theory about that song because I think my theory involves her and Drake. I'll do the research. I'll let you know.
You think they have it?
Yeah. I connected two songs that have like similar words. I think there's a part in there she says something about like something. I have to go back to the song. I can't think of it right now.
Okay.
But it made me think. Oh, this is about Drake.
Whatever.
I discovered it. That's my discovery.
Okay,
no one
else
steals it.
Go back into your vault and let us know when you figure it out. Yes. Okay. But anyway, no. I mean, you bringing it up though with the Kizz Daniel's angle. I'm now thinking of it as potentially like, what is your issue?
Exactly. Like, at what point do you feel like all your songs, not all his songs, because he has so many songs, right? But the big songs are like, you know, like, or just like, you have too many songs that are like this, like, who's breaking your heart?
Maybe he's wearing that flag, like a Mary J, like, you know, like, I'm the one who's going to speak on this for men.
I mean, who else is doing it, right? There's not a lot of men artists doing it.
Maybe he's wearing that type
Everyone
of,
else is singing about love and they love and they love, and Kizz Daniel is like, no, I don't love. I don't love love. Making money from it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, no, either way, I think.
Left or right?
We're going to talk about Miss Cherie Blair. Or Cherry Blair. I don't freaking know.
Yeah, but, so wife, I believe, I don't think she's an ex. Wife of Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of Great Britain, for those of you that don't know. I feel like I know politics now. Ready to run for president.
Yes. But, or not. But anyway, she's a woman or women's activist, right? And she shared like a stat, or I guess maybe an opinion, more so than a stat.
So she was at I don't know, some kind of event, conference or something.
Right.
She was speaking to a room full of people, and she basically was just like, I don't think she actually gave a stat. She just said most African women's first encounter with sex is via rape. Or
sexual abuse.
Exactly, rape, sexual abuse.
And I mean, even if it's not facts, like it's not factual, I think it is rooted in fact. So like, we looked up like some stats really quickly from the World Health Organization, WHO, and according to that, African countries or just Africa in general?
Just Africa in general.
Okay. So the African continent, about 45% of women have gone through sexual assaults, whereas in European countries it's like 27%. And
America is 36%,
so somewhere in the middle. So if almost half of a continent has gone through, or half of a continent's gender has gone through sexual assault, I think it's safe to assume a lot of that occurred in their youth And if it occurred in your youth, it's probably one of your first sexual
Yeah,
experiences.
yeah. I mean, I think
it's the first.
There was when she said what she said, there wasn't the people in the room like didn't react to it any kind of way. Like just like okay, true, like keep talking that talk. And then after the fact, I guess people like when it kind of of course left those walls. People felt like, whoa, like that time out. First of all, this is not factual. Yeah, like you're exaggerated, right? Like you're playing into this stereotype that exists.
But most stereotypes are there for a reason.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like the idea that Asian people are smart is a stereotype because a lot of Asians do, certain high-level degrees.
Right. So I think another thing I saw people say, so they complain about that, the stereotype, like feeding into it and thinking like that's not necessarily true, especially in comparison to the rest of the world, which we can argue about, right? Yeah. But also people felt like she maybe shouldn't be the person to represent. Okay. That was a very interesting argument to me because I wouldn't. It's kind of like who's going not like who's going to do it, but like she has good intentions, so why do you have a problem with her?
Like a white woman should not be talking about the plight of a black woman. Or
how do you feel about that? That's essentially the argument. Yeah, that's essentially the argument.
I like the argument that we need allies that aren't us in order to make a difference.
Exactly.
Because nobody, like, we all know what our struggles are, but we need others to know and to join us in our fight to lift out of that struggle.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't mind that she said it, and I like that it created the conversation. I almost feel like that's being said ad nauseum nowadays. Like, let's start the conversation, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, that's where most things start. Without conversation, we're not moving. And I mean, honestly, how about this? Actually, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you think there's truth to what she mentioned?
I think there's definitely truth to it. I think that, I don't know, I can't give you stats. One, I'm not a woman, right? So I can't fit right into that line. Right. But also, I don't have the stats, right? I don't know the numbers. But I do think that if you asked me, if you said, do you think a lot or a high percentage, right, depending on how you define it, of women in Africa, like their first sexual experience is in an abusive manner, be it rape, molestation, the whole thing, right? I would agree with that. I would think that, yeah, like a lot of women carry those things, especially a lot of African women. And
why do you think that is?
Because one, it's taboo to really talk about.
Sex.
So I feel like there are a lot of families that like they have the daughter in the family, something happens to her, they're not really sharing that with anyone else.
You're tapping into something I want to get into.
So they're not sharing out anyone else. Yeah. They're keeping it. They're like it could literally be the next door neighbor. They're not necessarily gonna fight the person, kill the person. They're just gonna be like,
let's go a step further to be here in
your family.
Because I want to say what I want to tap into is that it's not just sexual assault, it's also incest in a lot of cases, unfortunately. And I don't, much like last week when we said we don't have the degrees, we don't have all of the knowledge, we haven't studied about it. But, if we were to speculate, let's just assume what she said was true. I think maybe part of the reason why is what you already mentioned, the idea that sex isn't this openly discussed topic.
It's not.
So when you're young and you're hitting puberty and your hormones are running and whatever, and you want to experiment, and a lot of times, unfortunately, that's obviously happening for guys, I would say, a little bit sooner than for girls. And you want to experiment, you'll take advantage of whatever is there. You'll try whatever is there, and that's maybe even like putting it too innocently.
I wouldn't ever like. I'm thinking more of like the uncle that's just around that has bad intentions for the girl that like literally just hit puberty, like that doesn't even know anything, but he knows and a lot of families don't even like the people that you think are your family. Sometimes you don't look at them as threats, and those are most rapes and stuff are from people like by people that like people that you're super comfortable with.
Yeah, no, the reason I was bringing that up was like I'm thinking more like the brother that's maybe 4 years older than you that starts doing whatever. Okay, that's one, and again, that's maybe putting it innocently. But if we were to go further and talk about uncles and whatnot, I'm sure I don't even understand how I could tap into that psyche. Like, what makes you think, let me take advantage of my niece, my daughter, my best friend's daughter. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, I'm trying to understand. What can't you get out of older
Exactly. It's a sick way of thinking that you can't ever understand. And to me, I'm like, I don't even care to understand.
True.
I just think it needs to be eradicated. However, that is done.
Well, can I say too though, with sexual assault, half of the time it's not about the sex. It's about leveling control.
Yeah. And
so maybe if I was to go there, I would think maybe it's because this is a young girl and this is where I can assert my dominance, my control, that I might not be as easy with somebody that's more mature. Exactly. So it's that. It's also, I mean, Africa is very new in its mobility out of imperialism and becoming more, just freestanding, independent. So of course there's a lot of war, civil war. That's a huge war tactic.
Yeah.
It's imposing.
That's true. Now that you bring that up, I wonder how
big that is.
I mean, I know it's big there. I wonder how it would look if you didn't consider those places that are still in active or very close active wars. Because I think, I don't want to say I would just kind of think it's just part of the territory, like it's just there. Yeah. But I think it's like in those places, like you can't even use those stats, like in terms of judging the whole Africa, because it wouldn't be fair. Like they're in a different
way too much.
Exactly. Like it's a different situation. You can't even compare it. But something interesting I thought of when we were talking about how sex is taboo and that whole thing, is how families approach it. Can you share with us? Did you ever have a talk with your parents about sex? Like, how in American culture is like, what, the birds and the bees? Because I never had a conversation. I never shared, I don't even know. I just know that I don't know when I learned about sex. I just knew that I knew. I just knew, like, this goes there, and it fits, it makes sense, and I never had to ask any parents or anyone, I never had to ask any adults.
Stop when my mom listens to this.
So let her
I don't want to throw her under the bus, but JK. I think actually my mom is a lot more liberal, maybe progressive than a lot of other African parents. So I will say maybe the conversation wasn't about sex immediately, but like when you get your period as a girl, that's like you're coming of age. And I know my mom did like lay down the groundwork. Like put the seed in me. Like, there's things that happen and now that you have your period, it could be this, be safe, talk to me if anything happens.
Do you think it's different for boys and girls? Like, do you think your mother would have a conversation on any level, or maybe not your mother, but let's just say your parents, with your brother, right?
If I was to say parent for parent, I don't think my dad would, per se. Not talking to either of us about anything.
No, we're not talking about
Although my dad, again, is also pretty open, like,
of course, so just not having that conversation.
Just not having, no, my mom, yes. But and it's also because my mom, as we've gotten older, she likes to say, like, she's tapped into reality. So she gets what may or may not be happening. But I will say the conversation started a little bit earlier with my brother than it did with me. That's one. And two, the type of conversation is a little bit different.
Right.
With girls, I think it's more about protecting yourself, being smart, being, maybe not opening that Pandora's box.
Exactly.
With guys, it's like, okay, well, whatever. We know,
Be careful. It's about protecting yourself both ways. It's just, with girls, it's more like, protect yourself like this. With guys, protect yourself like,
And with girls, it's more like, protect yourself, maybe don't do it. Like, if you do it...
Yeah, guys, it's not a matter of don't do it.
It's like, we know it's going to happen. It's like, I'm not even going to...
You're going to do it.
Whereas girls, it's like, I haven't...
Just don't do it with her over there.
Exactly.
Be careful when you do it.
Exactly. So the conversation is definitely different. And I will say, and I think it came with time. Like, she's not having that conversation with my little sister yet. It's definitely with, like, college age and older. So, which some may say might be too late. Right. Especially with American culture. You know what I mean? They'll definitely say it's too late. But I'm glad that the line of communication is there at all. It's definitely open. It's not... I don't think it's something I would ever be uncomfortable, if...
Sharing with your kids.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, because... I never had it, so I just assumed that no one else had it. I'm like, they're like, African parents don't talk about this.
Isn't it funny though? It's the first time usually they know you've had sex is when you're telling them you have a child to bring. Like, you know what I mean? Like before that, it's like a foreign concept to a lot of them.
I mean, it's funny because you have uncles and like non-parents, right? But like parent age, they like will make like little, especially to guys, like will make little remarks and stuff, and you just like. You don't ever admit to anything. You're just like, ha ha ha. Like, no, like, I'm like, no, I don't even talk to girls. Like, no, I don't know what is a girl. Like what?
Exactly.
No.
But you want to know what's wild to me though? Like I said, there's two different conversations going on when it's guy versus girl. But who are the guys having sex with? Like maybe don't.
No, my daughter. I don't know who. That's the.
So you get my point here.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we pretending that women are these?
It's
like,
both ways.
So the conversation should be very similar in both because the guys are having sex with someone. But that's just my 2 cents on that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess to close it out, Sherry Blair, I'm not mad at her.
Yeah, I'm not mad either. I think that I agree with what you said. Like we need people to be on our side, and as long as her intentions are good, she's pushing the conversation in the right direction. Which is sounds like she was basically just saying like, yo, we need to raise awareness about this. We need to make this a thing that's not a thing.
Right.
How can you really be mad at that? Like she's for good in this situation. So apparently, people are wondering what's going on out there.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard. So Jussie got cleared. Well, I was about to say the wrong thing. He didn't get cleared.
He got cleared. Yeah, his record was expunged.
We're gonna go back. But what happened is the charges were dropped,
and his record was cleared. Like it's no longer in his record.
That what?
You know how usually if you pull up somebody's record, you can see that they were charged with they were a sex offender or whatever. His record is clean. It's just like how in juvenile cases where it's like we clear your record once you turn 18 or whatever. Yeah, that's basically what's happening for him.
Okay. Isn't that so? That's not the same thing. We need a lawyer, man. No, that's not the same thing as your charges being dropped.
No, it's not. It's like you can have your charges dropped without your record being expunged or cleared, whatever.
Okay.
In the sense that people can still know the history or the lowdown. But let's say 50 years from now, people who don't know anything about the story and they're looking Jussie Smollett up, they wouldn't be able to find it in legal documents.
Okay.
Maybe obviously on Google is one thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Legal documentation. But honestly.
Yeah. So what does that mean?
People keep forgetting that just because the charges were dropped and his record is now clean doesn't mean he's innocent. There's actually, legally speaking, you have to go through a whole other process for you to be rendered innocent. Like, a judge has to preside over some hearings or whatever. You have to, have a certain amount of evidence, all that stuff for him to then come out and say, this person is innocent of all the charges they were.
Do they ever do that?
They do. Whenever, for instance, if DNA comes out, DNA evidence,
but
they have to go through, a whole
I don't think that's the norm.
No, or in a case like Jussie's, let's say he had, such overwhelming evidence that he had nothing to do with it, he would have to present that evidence to a judge, in a court of law, and then they would go through proceedings.
This is news to me.
Yeah, they would go. I mean, as far as what I've
read.
Not what I know, what I've read in relation to the Jussie Smollett issue. People have said this, in order for him.
So who has ever been declared innocent? I know the DNA thing.
Yeah.
But when you say the DNA thing, I'm thinking of okay, that's one thing, but. Who else? People don't get declared innocent.
Well,
because aren't you innocent until you're proven guilty? So if he was never proven guilty, he's innocent by default.
He was never. That's the thing. Not being guilty. OJ is not innocent because he wasn't proven guilty.
In the eyes of the law, he is innocent.
Not necessarily. He was just not guilty.
And
notice how the judgment is always not guilty of all charges. Because the thing is, you have to be. Guilty without a reasonable doubt or whatever the term is.
I would say that's a little bit different also because his charges were not dropped compared to Jussie, whose charges were dropped. Charges dropped means that at the prosecutor's office, we don't think we have evidence, we can't make a case.
No, but charges get dropped when you, for instance, do a plea deal sometimes.
Well, he didn't do a plea deal, did he?
No, actually, that's what they're considering it to be because the thing is, the fact that he forfeited his bail, that's not normal. You can't just keep bail. That has to be given back. So when you're forfeiting bail, part of your plea sentence. Okay. Also, the fact that he actually did volunteer service already. They're saying, that went towards what charges you were brought against.
So it's a plea deal.
Basically, without being called a plea deal.
So don't say the charges were dropped. He did a deal, and they're not going to charge him.
But the technical term is charges were dropped because they're not taking him to. Usually with a plea deal, you were taken to trial or you were about to be taken to trial, but before it happened, you signed a plea deal, whatever. usually it's like it's almost with plea deals. It's actually usually an admittance of guilt.
Exactly.
But in this case, he didn't admit guilt. But that's just because we didn't get far along in that process. Like
judicially
speaking.
So let's get to the point beyond that. Okay. So you still look at him as being guilty?
Personally, yeah, because someone like Kim Foxx, who is, I believe, I want to say she's the attorney general in Chicago, and she's the one who would, go through the bringing the child to prosecution, whatever. Yeah. She's like, nah, that nigga's guilty. Okay. He just powers that be helped him.
So who would decide that? Who would decide to give him a deal? She has to decide that, no?
No, because.
It is her. Who?
Well, I mean, if she gets the deal, who signs off? If I don't know who is above her, if anyone in that sense, but whatever powers that be, like I want to say the governor. I'm not actually. The governor is also against it. Yeah, who is not against this? I don't know how he got away with it. I really don't.
It doesn't make sense because my understanding, with a grain of salt, this is from Law and Order, so it has to be facts. Okay, whatever. But essentially, the police is gonna determine what they think happened. They're going to give it to the prosecutor's office and say, listen, this is the guy that did it. Mm-hmm. The prosecutor's office, they're working hand in hand, right? So the prosecutor's they're like, oh yeah, you can arrest them. We agree, that type of thing. Yeah. Right? Because they're not just arresting someone for no reason. They have to have the evidence. They have to believe it. Exactly. It stacks up. Exactly. They arrest them. After they arrest them, say, okay, we're going to take them to court? Or we like, what's the thing? Like, do we think we have enough to win a case? If you think you have enough to win a case, you're going to prosecute. They were basically going through that process. And then they stopped. Enough, so exactly. So that's what I'm trying to say. So if they stopped, the people that, to me, it seems like had the power to continue are the people complaining. But I don't see how they could have stopped if they didn't give the green light.
But that's why people are like, okay, why are the records sealed, for instance? Like, because along with the charges being dropped, like I said, his record is clean, but they're not releasing the files. So much like with Donald Trump, you know what I'm talking about? With the Mueller investigation.
I kind of stopped following, so they're not going to release it?
The Mueller investigation stuff? Yeah, no. Well, okay, technically, actually, the Democrats in Congress are still trying to get
so process.
Him to release it. Not Mueller, but the
I know you're talking about Barr.
Yeah, Bill Barr. Yeah, they're trying to get... Because he gave a 4-page summary or whatever, and that was what he thinks is enough. Either way, it is taxpayer money. This investigation took place because of taxpayer money, so we have a right to all of the information, is how the Democrats are wording. So we'll see what happens with that. But then, again, same thing where there's a huge file in place that should let us know and let us decide for our own selves what we think happened. Yeah. But those files are being sealed. And again, I think it's because powers that be stepped in, let Jussie off, and everybody wants to watch.
Okay, so you think Jussie's guilty? You're not gonna give any benefit of doubt. Like, I mean, they dropped the charges.
Something about it just feels so gross to me. Because maybe I'm sorry, but when the first thing you did after it happened is give what seems to be a false statement, calling your attackers these white men.
He was confused. Have you ever been beat up before?
No.
Then you don't know. Again, you got confused.
I'll let you ride on that. Like on the benefit of the doubt train. I'm just gonna stand to the side.
Dude, so what do you think? Anyway, what do you think is gonna happen to him career-wise? Do you think he's basically like he's good to go? Like he can continue his life?
Who the hell knows? Because it is. The controversy.
Because I've seen a lot of Empire people kind of come out and be like, yeah, like I saw like the writers' room tweet, like they're coming out to kind of support him, like, yeah, we knew you were innocent the whole time, type of thing.
But I mean, so I do think maybe he'll get a spot on Empire. I don't know. I can't tell if it's the type of controversy that, like, I don't know if it's like a Martha Stewart thing where it's like, okay, she did bad things.
No one looked at her as being a bad person for that.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like,
that was like, get your money, sis.
But I guess with Jussie, people do consider this
people don't look at him as bad. People look at him as like sleazy.
People, there's something nefarious that went out. I'm down. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't think it's for it to be this tricky. Mm-hmm. Something, if the light was put on the situation well, we would know more, and something would look very shady when it comes to Jussie. So I'm sorry. I just can't rock with it.
I think ultimately it's not gonna matter. I think his career is going to continue as it was going. But I also don't think his career was going anywhere that we would care that much about. Like, well, like, who was Jussie before all this?
This works in his benefit if it is true.
If Hollywood looks at him as innocent.
Or if this was done as a publicity stunt. Actually, both. If this was done as a publicity stunt, or if it is in fact like he's innocent, whatever, it worked in his favor in the sense that he's literally a household name. Like
I could not have told you his name.
6 months ago, who the hell is Jussie?
He has a sister that's an actor, you know?
Oh, really?
I'm just making that stuff now. Because I want to say when Empire started, it was like, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to research. I'm pretty sure it was like, his sister is alright, maybe I'm lying.
I think you made that one.
Man, no one cares about Jussie. Like, forget Jussie. What are we talking about?
Let's just move on. But, another current event stuff. Wendy Williams.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Well, okay. Firstly, let's just discuss the fact that she's relapsed, because back in the day, we all knew she had drug issues. I don't know if we all knew, but it was a thing. She had drug issues with cocaine in particular, and apparently she relapsed. She's been living in a sober house. We found that out like a week or two ago now.
Yeah, she announced it on her show.
Yeah, and that already was sad enough, but then her husband Kevin went to go have a baby on her, apparently.
Oh, not even just that. Did you not hear that she, like you said,
alcohol bender and ended up in the hospital, and her staff didn't know what to make of the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I almost like slid over that part because I'm like, that's the story of any recovering addict situation.
It is, but it's scary
it is Wendy
because
Williams too.
Exactly, like it's someone that you you don't know, but you feel like you know a little bit.
Yeah.
Am I right?
No,
I'm always right. What are you talking about? Sorry, she just let me know that Jussie definitely has a sister.
We know her. Her name is Journey or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Come on,
we know her. Like her face is very.
Yeah, like she's actually like a popular.
Oh, really?
She's a child actress, so yeah.
Do we know what she's been in?
On Our Own.
See.
What's her most recent dance or biggest?
Eve's Bayou.
What?
Eve's Bayou.
What is that?
The Great Debaters.
The Great Debaters, the light-skinned girl.
Yeah. True Blood. Oh yeah, I remember True Blood. I remember watching that.
If you see her picture, you know.
Yeah, okay.
I know her face.
Anyway, whatever. I'm done with Jussie and his kid. Like, we can move on.
I'm always right. That's the point. Okay.
Okay, so anyway. Wait, is Kin child? Your child? Kin, like kinfolk. Kin, what does Kin mean?
Kin, like family.
Yeah, family. Okay, so yeah. I'm done with Jussie and the Kin. I wasn't sure if I used the right word. I had to make sure my vocabulary was right. I just... Okay. Okay. So anyway.
Wendy Williams. You want to talk about the side?
Yeah. So her whole issues with drugs, alcohol, all that is one thing, and then the side chick had a baby on her. But we all knew about the side chick, right? Did you know about her? Yeah. She's been around.
I don't know anything about Wendy Williams for the most part, but I know about the side chick because I've heard Charlamagne on the Breakfast Club talk about it. Yeah. So I assume it's like public knowledge.
He introduced them.
Oh yeah, exactly, yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of public knowledge. Like his name was on a mailbox with hers. Like they share a house together. That's how whoever broke the news found out. Like, so either way, we've known about it all along. But Wendy has always been like, this ring will stay on my finger till the death of me. Like I'm not going anywhere. I'm the wife. She never denied that there was a side,
but she never.
She's like, I'm the wife at the end of the day. So okay, fine. We all accept it, but everybody should know their role in the situation. And the side chick does not procreate with the man. You just know better, or you're supposed to. But here we are. Oh, and side note, I've heard, and I don't know how true this is, but he's apparently abusive towards Wendy.
Wow.
Like physically.
Yeah.
So that's another layer to the whole situation, which may explain why,
Yeah, I don't know. That's you never know what's going on in people's lives, right? It's all really craziness. I can never imagine a situation where, as a wife, you find out your husband has another woman, and like you choose to stay through it all, but then like he doesn't necessarily break it off with the woman. Like you would kind of generally think that once you find out, like it's one or the other. It's one or the other. Like you don't get to stay with the wife and stay with the side chick. That's generally how it is.
But he's her manager too, remember? And they have a kid together, so like he was always going to be in her life.
Of course, but it doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be in her life as her husband. He can be in her life as her manager, as her ex-husband, as her baby daddy, as a bunch of other things. So I don't know. I think the abuse thing is interesting in the sense that like you don't know if that's true. You don't know how that plays into things, right? Like abused women are not the quickest to leave those situations because it's just for whatever reason, right? We know it's just hard to leave an abusive relationship.
Right.
She had the drug thing, so like there's a lot going on in her life. Like, basically, that's how I see it.
Isn't it weird that I feel kind of bad for her? Even though we all know that, I guess because if Wendy wasn't the one going through it, this would be a hot topic, and she'd be ruthless about it. She'd be like, let me tell y'all about, and passing judgment, throwing shade, all of that stuff. Yeah. So, like, people will say a lot, because I don't know if you kept up with this, but maybe a week or two ago, she had that tiff with Howard Stern. Oh, yeah, I heard about people didn't really feel bad for her, because, again, like, she knows how to dish it. She should be able to take it, too. So that's why I'm like, I don't know why, but I feel weird about feeling bad for her.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely understand the energy of, like, you get the kind of energy you give out. Yeah. But me, personally, I'm just always going to be like, oh, like, I feel bad for that. Like, I don't really I don't look at her, like, I don't care about her in general. But I don't look at her as, like, the person that talks about other people. I just look at her as, like, oh, damn, like, she has this drug problem. Like, she's going through a hard time.
I think it's also because maybe you don't realize how bad it was when she was a radio personality. Exactly. Because apparently she called Whitney Houston a crackhead to her face on the radio. So it's like, apparently she's softened a lot since getting on TV. But either way, I think what I will say is I almost can separate the persona and what I think, she makes her money doing from her as just a human at her core. Like, she still probably feels pain. Of course. She cuts like the rest of us. She bleeds like the rest of us. So I do feel bad for her, but, it is what it is. I do hope the best, though, for her.
Exactly. Always. We always hope the best for everyone and her family. And
I don't know if I feel the same about the side chick, though.
I mean, I feel bad for the side chick, too. She's going through a hard time.
But I wish the best. I wish the best
for everyone. Everyone needs the best. Yeah. Side chicks do a good job. We need them, too.
Okay.